sit here and cheer for USA versus everybody. It's like America versus everybody. I fucking love it. Like, and it's just a whole bunch of sports you don't get to see, and you're like, if you get yourself into it, you really can get into it. And like these speed skating and some of the downhill racing, they're so fucking crazy, and I just love watching people crash. And then, like I was saying before, the alpine like skiing, where these fucker guys are going 75 miles per hour, and then they fucking like get in the air, and then they crash, and they can't stop themselves, so their limp ass bodies are flying out of control. And they run into these orange fences, and they take down like 7 fences
that's
from
not
a
even
distance.
That's not even a sport. That's just legit insanity. No one does that shit.
I think I would be really good at that.
Yeah, because all you got to do is sit there and just scream as you fly down a
hill. You
hill.
have to turn so sharp too, and these people are going, and they like lose control. And like when you're in the air going 75 and you lose control, you know you're fucked.
Yeah,
and
I think you die. I think you die before you land.
Watching them take down 75 fences is the best thing in the world.
Oh, gross! Let's get loaded. Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast,
where we never finish first because we finish last.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben, that is DJ, and I guess I shouldn't say thanks again for tuning in. If you're a first-time listener, thanks for your first time. You repeat listeners, you're why we wake up every morning.
I think it's funny that we already started this podcast once and had to start all over again. And it's like repeating the same shit.
I think it's the first time we've ever had to do that.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, Ben hit the wrong button, and I'm Ben, so I did that. My bad.
Ben is the fucking third person. And this is also the Olympic podcast of 2018 as well, so welcome to that.
This is going to be DJ's Olympic podcast, and since we're in full off-season NFL mode, it's our off-season headline podcast when DJ's not talking about the Olympics. We're going to go over a bunch of headlines that we're anticipating are going to be the big story drivers this off-season in the NFL. NFL draft, quarterbacks, free agency, you name it, whatever comes up. DJ and his half pipe, whatever he's thinking of right now.
Yeah, actually they are the half pipe right now, Sean White. Nice call.
How could I guess?
You know what? I put out a tweet last night that people found a little controversial, and I deleted it. I feel bad that I deleted it because I'm not a person to back off what I said.
You're not a tweet deleter?
Yeah, it was some girl from USA won the gold, and her name was Chloe Kim, and I said, Chloe Kim Kardashian. No wonder she's so good at riding the pipe. That was genius.
Her name was not Chloe Kim.
Yes, it was.
What?
Yeah, so I just called her Chloe Kim Kardashian, and then I fucking
that's a pipe ride.
Riding the pipe.
That's a pipe ride name right there. Ooh, yeah, definitely.
But I was like, it's not about her because it's more of a dig at the Kardashians, so people need to stop being so pussy.
Yeah, it's not towards a 17-year-old. It's towards the Kardashians, obviously. Well, now that we got our Olympic talk out of the way, finally we can be done with that.
Yeah, nope.
Let's go into off-season headline number 1, and it's about the Cleveland Browns and the NFL draft and what direction the Browns are going to go. And I'm going to let you go first, but before we do this, I was saying before we had to restart this that this headline happens every single offseason because...
Oh, dude, why didn't we play trophies by fucking Drake?
Because they ain't got no trophies for that. Or awards for that.
Oh, or headlines or whatever. Is it headlines?
Oh, yeah, my bad.
By Drake?
Yeah, different...
God damn it. Start over again.
Start over one more time. If you're hearing this, it's a mistake.
It's like we're doing this in the past and the future again.
Yes. Well, as I was saying, Browns have the first pick this year, had the first pick last year, and the year before that, they actually had the second pick before they traded it. So this headline is becoming a yearly tradition. It's like the Patriots go to the Super Bowl, the Browns pick in the top 2.
This is a deja vu for me.
Absolutely. So
I can't wait to get past this first part so we can actually get into new stuff.
All right, what do you got here?
As I said before when we restarted it, as I'm saying again, that none of you guys are following, I think I like that they went Myles Garrett last year. They had to go defense. There's no quarterback they're confident in. This is the year, though, you have the options at quarterback. Rosen made it pretty clear that he doesn't want to play for the Browns, so I don't think think even if they do like him better, I don't think you're like, you have to be smart. Like, you don't want to deal with a Philip Rivers, Eli Manning situation. You just don't want to deal with that. So
Right.
I think they have to go Sam Darnold. I think he's I think those two are the top two choices. Personally, I'd rather have Josh Rosen because I like that swag that he has, that little bit of cockiness, playing with a little chip. So I like that a lot. But I think they have to go Darnold and grab the like a Minka Fitzpatrick, another defensive playmaker. Some people are saying he's a guarantee, like a kind of like the Jalen Ramsey type, where he's gonna hit no matter what. So I think they can sneak him at number 4. I don't think you need to reach for him at 1. I think you go get that quarterback right away and then grab Fitzpatrick at 4.
Side question: did you just steal all my notes when you just talked there, or how do you want to do that? Because you talked about quarterback, you talked about Fitzpatrick, you talked
Well, I
about
think it's pretty
Jalen.
obvious that they need to go quarterback.
You
What
didn't
else are
let
you
me
going to talk
finish.
about with
You
them?
didn't let me finish. And you talked about Jalen Ramsey. You got to make the same comparison I was going to make. What is this?
Yeah, I saw some of your notes. That's why I wanted to go after you.
Well, I'm with you because success usually obviously starts at the quarterback unless you have like a dominating defense. And the Browns legit haven't hit on a quarterback in the draft in our lifetime. Like, it's been forever. So they need to make that decision that if they like one enough to make him their number 1 pick, or if they really like Kaiser, do you try to land someone at, like you said, they have pick 4, they have pick 33, they have pick 35. So I'm with you. I think at some point here, they're going to have to go quarterback. Hopefully they like one of them. If not, yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick seems like that can't-miss kind of guy. He can play safety, he can play corner. Same kind of things that were said about Jalen Ramsey, and that's worked out really well for Jacksonville. No one, if Ramsey would have been like the top pick overall for Jacksonville that year, no one would be blinking an eye at it. So if you don't like a quarterback here and you want Fitzpatrick, I mean, I don't even see anything wrong with taking him 1. I don't think it'll happen. But
yeah, and I don't agree with that this year. I think this is their best quarterback opportunity for a long time.
I was saying if they don't like one, and I agree, they should like one of the 5 of them that are going to go in the first round or whatever. But
and it's like I see them like I don't think anybody has them taking Rosen just for the fact that, like I said, he just doesn't want to play there, and you don't want I know some GMs or owners are so fucking stubborn that like, we're going to take him, he's going to play for us. Don't be that stubborn asshole. Just don't have that problematic person on your team if he doesn't want to play for you.
Yeah, why put him in a bad situation that he doesn't even want to get into? I agree with that.
It's Johnny Manziel all over again.
Minus the cocaine.
Minus the cocaine, and probably a little more talented, but still.
Yeah. Let's go on to offseason headline number 2, and it's, what do the Broncos decide to do at the quarterback position?
Personally, I feel John Elway, he's the quarterback guy. I think he's going to go aggressively at Kirk Cousins, and I also think that's a great fit for him. He's got good weapons there in both Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. I think he'd have great success with those guys. I think they probably need to add a tight end, but they could go get a guy like Jimmy Graham as well. He's a free agent this year. But I think a decent QB can always vault that elite defense to play elite again. Like, they played like shit, let's be honest, especially at the end of the year. They've been playing like shit. I think you bring a good QB in, even a smart QB like Peyton Manning, who sucked in his career, but the fact that he was able to orchestrate the offense, the defense continued to play at an elite level, so I think they need a quarterback to bring that confidence and that swagger back to the defense. Plus, with Von Miller campaigning so hard for fucking Kirk Cousins, he's just riding his balls constantly on Twitter. I don't see how Kirk Cousins doesn't end up in Denver.
Yeah, I'll get to Cousins in a minute. Sounds like that's where you're hoping.
I'm all in on Cousins at Denver.
I think it's an important headline for Broncos fans because they've legit been searching for that quarterback since Manning retired, and they invested a first-round pick into Paxton Lynch. He wasn't honestly given too much of a chance, but when he was given a chance, he didn't really show all that much. Trevor Siemian, people were going crazy about that 3-game start that he had a couple of years back. Me and you were like, no, Trevor Siemian is a career backup. Don't be fooled by this. Teams are not who they end up being at the end of the year, the first 3 weeks of the year. You can almost wipe that out. And the whole John Elway thing, he gets so much credit for that Super Bowl that Denver won. But he needs to find that next guy, and it became a little bit more challenging already in the offseason because you have Alex Smith going to Washington. You have Jimmy Garoppolo, who ended up signing with the 49ers. So your options are basically you have draft Kirk Cousins, who you like, Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, whatever the Vikings end up doing, or maybe you even have Foles in a trade. But I differ from you a little bit here because I don't think that defense is quite what it was when they had Manning. I don't think they're just a quarterback away anymore. I think that I'd actually go quarterback in the draft here. With the 5th pick overall, you can get a good player, and then it's your choice. You can either throw him to the fire, or you could even have him sit behind one of their current guys right now because you've already stuck with him this long. You might as well let him play right away. You might as well let him hang on a little bit longer and see what happens with your rookie.
You say sit behind a guy so much, it pisses me off because that's just not always the right formula.
I said you could do either. I said you could do either. I said you could throw him to the fire.
Like, you can't just sit here and keep saying sit behind this guy. Sit behind this guy. Like, you say this about
you didn't listen.
What's his goddamn name? Baker Mayfield behind Tannehill. So I'm saying that.
You didn't listen.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. Okay, I'll re-say it. I said you could go quarterback in the draft, and you can either throw him to the fire. Just go right in. You have the option. You can throw him to the fire, or you can have him sit behind a guy. But if you have him sit behind a guy, you don't need to spend all this money on Nick Foles, on Case Keenum, on anyone. You can let him sit behind Simeon or Lynch because you already have him. You've already stuck with him this long. You didn't get rid of him already. You might as well hang on to him for a little bit longer if you're going to go that route. I didn't say they have to go that route.
But you always it seems like you always default to sitting behind him. I feel like it shouldn't even be said. It just bothers me. It happened. It worked for one fucking guy, basically, in the history of fucking football. And like 2 guys, maybe.
Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers.
But,
so that's 3 Hall of Famers.
It doesn't happen often. It's very rare, few and far in between. Literally, it almost never happens. Teams keep trying to do this.
Yeah, but what about
Put
teams?
Put them up there and let them play.
Okay, so throw Mariota out there, throw Winston out there. How great have they been doing?
They were good for a couple of years. They were fine for a couple of years. They had some down seasons this year, but that doesn't mean they can't bounce back.
I think it depends solely on the player. It depends on the situation. I'm not one way or the other. You always give me crap because I think it just stands out in your mind. But yeah, I wouldn't want to throw.
Too many people say it. Too many people say it, and it rarely works, if ever, because they see a guy like Aaron Rodgers do it, and then they go back to Aaron Rodgers.
I just named off 3 Hall of Famers.
Dude, they go back to Aaron Rodgers every time.
I just
went
to 3
other guys.
People
that people typically name.
Whatever. I want to move on. You talked about Kirk Cousins going to Denver. Is that your landing? This is headline 3, by the way. Sorry, we had to yell at each other there.
I saw the notes on this one, and I really didn't feel like I needed to answer the next question because I just gave my answer for it.
So your Kirk Cousins is probably Denver then.
Yes.
First, before I start talking, I don't get why Washington felt it was necessary to replace an average quarterback with another average quarterback. I didn't get a chance to say that yet, so I wanted to make that loud and clear. But I think the options for Cousins at this point, I was looking through the teams. You basically have the Vikings, the Jaguars, Bills, Browns, Broncos, Cardinals, and Jets.
Yep.
Those are your realistic options. If I had to pick, I actually think the Cardinals. And I'm not crazy. I'm not confident in that. I just like the fit.
They're such a rebuilding team that I don't see that. I don't see, because it's in his court too, right? The ball's in his court. He wants to go to somewhere that's going to win. He's not going to go to. I know money talks, but he's going to get paid. Like, he's a quarterback that puts up good numbers. I just don't see him going to a team that's in rebuilding phase with the Rams and the Seahawks that just aren't going to get to the playoffs for a long time. They're rebuilding, and same with the Jets and Browns. I mean, I kind of feel like you can rule those teams out.
I sort of feel like the Cardinals, though, aren't in a total rebuild, and I think we label them as a rebuild team because of the fact that they don't have a quarterback.
They don't have a coach. They
don't have anything.
But they don't. We don't know. And these defensive coaches it seem like they don't work out anymore.
But if they were to add Cousins, let's say Fitzgerald comes back for another year, you have David Johnson coming back. You've got a couple other young guys at receiver. That defense is still okay.
But they struggled too, man. They had a Denver type year.
Yeah, they did. But like you said, though, does that reflect back on the poor offense? They're on the field so much. They're just tired of being out there and just getting worn down.
I just think they have one cornerback now, and his name's Patrick Peterson, and the rest of the secondary is terrible.
You get the Honey Badger.
Yeah, but what the fuck did he do?
Not much this last year, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't get to see a lot of Cardinals games, so I will pardon my ignorance. But, yeah, you didn't see him all that often. I will give you that.
I think with Kirk Cousins having the choice, I mean, he's basically being recruited right now. Like,
Right.
that's what's happening. So he does have a choice to find a fit, and that's why I'm pushing so hard for the Bills. He's obviously not going to go to the Vikings. They have 3 options there that they can pick from. I think I don't. It's not going to be the Jags. Blake Bortles the man, obviously, so can rule that one out. Broncos. I think it's Broncos. I feel like just by process of elimination, I put him on the Broncos.
You can have Broncos. I'll take the Cardinals. That's just my, like I said, not super confident in that one. Just kind of like the fit. Let's go on to our next offseason headline, and it's what will the Green Bay Packers' biggest offseason move be with their new GM? And I'll let you start on this one, but answer this question first, because this is a very generic question that could legit be asked about any single team.
Oh yeah.
But explain to the people why it's more relevant than ever right now for Green Bay.
Why it's more relevant than ever, or like why it's there's 2 reasons, two answers to that question that I can take it. So I'm just going to answer both. One, the thing about the Green Bay Packers, the last fucking 10 years or however long Ted Thompson was the GM for, his whole strategy was draft and develop, and then basically what he did, he never made off-season moves unless it was a 35-year-old veteran player like a Charles Woodson or a Julius Peppers, but nothing big, nothing out there like going to get like I'm just trying to think of a random free agent that was available, like AJ Bouye or something like that he could have had the option of going to get last year. Never makes a move like that could help their defense hugely. Instead, when a guy fucking finally becomes a good player and he costs too much, he'll basically let that guy walk and then move another guy into that position that he's showing a couple of flashes that ends up failing. And that's why their defense is where they're at. It's because they don't make any big moves in the offseason when it comes to free agency. With Gutekunst here, he says that he's gonna be active. He's gonna make some moves. So I think that makes this a lot more relevant. And I don't know what my second part of the answer.
Well, that's exactly where I was going with it, because it is such a generic question. I said, what's the Packers' biggest offseason move? Well, what's the Jets' biggest offseason move?
They just don't make moves.
That's
so
the
it's
thing.
so much more relevant for them because they never are. You never see them ever making any type of move that means anything.
Yeah,
ever. There's never even a big move ever, and it's the one thing that frustrated the Packers for so long. The reason they haven't won a Super Bowl with the best quarterback in the league for 8 years is because the defense is so inept because they don't make any moves to help the secondary, help the pass rush, help Aaron Rodgers. He has to do it all by himself. So it's a huge, huge, huge thing for them to let Ted Thompson go and have the opportunity to actually make moves in free agency.
Well, that was a very long-winded answer to a simple question that I asked you. But anyways, now do you want to get onto your real answer now as to what you think the move is?
Yeah, I think since they drafted Kevin King last year, he does have a shoulder injury that people seem to be questioning more than I like. But I do believe that they'll go after now a veteran cornerback. Opposite of him, Demarius Randall did have a pretty goddamn good year, but he really excelled in the slot. So I think they'll grab another guy who can go opposite Kevin King, maybe even take him under his wing. So a guy like Jermaine Johnson, David Amerson, or even a Malcolm Butler, who I could see them definitely going after, a guy that knows how to do his job and learned from maybe one of the best coaches of all time. And Bill Belichick, even though I don't technically believe it, but I'm in the very, very small minority of that one. I think they make a move for one of those guys. I'm leading Malcolm Butler, but I'm excited that I can even talk about this and actually believe that it's going to happen. And then I also believe there's a chance that he might try to make a little bit of splash in the draft and maybe even move into the top 10 and grab a guy like...
Ooh, that's anti-Packer, man.
I know. It's not what they do. They don't. They trade back. They don't, or they just stay where they are. But they could grab a guy like Roquan Smith out of Georgia, or Bradley Chubb, or stupid wives. Or potentially double down on the D-back. And, he might go before they could get up there, but going to get like another guy like Minka Fitzpatrick. And get a free agent signing or maybe go free agent signing pass rusher. But there was no pass rusher that I liked in free agency, so I don't see that being the direction they go. But maybe, since their secondary is so terrible, but maybe they can get a guy I just wanted to note this at the end because he was a friend of the podcast. But maybe they can try and get our guy like our boy Chris McCain, who had very solid at least beginning of the season. I know he had like 5 sacks in the first 4 games.
Yeah, I think he finished with 5 sacks. He started like a bandit.
he made a splash right away.
Yeah, he did. You said absolutely everything I was going to say about starting with the defensive back, so I don't need to go too much more into that. Morgan Burnett, I believe, is a free agent. And then you have Clinton Dix at safety. So, yeah, man, if they could trade up somehow and get Fitzpatrick, I think that would be awesome for that secondary because I'm just going to repeat what you said, but it's the fact that they just need defense.
Yeah, and they need a pass rush.
Everyone can use a little bit of help on offense, sure. But when it comes down to it, that team is just missing a defense that can put teams away because Rodgers, if he scores 30 points, they should win. They're to the point right now where they're scoring 30 points and they're not even comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's not comfortable at all. Because they just fucking give up. They give up 70 yards in 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Awful. People try to point to Rodgers, and they can't really do that as much anymore because of all the amazing endings he's had. But the arguments against him was like, oh, no big fourth quarter comebacks. But he did. The team just gave up fucking field goals and touchdowns in the last 30 seconds of those games where he did have those comebacks.
Yeah, he had the fourth quarter comeback, but then the other team's quarterback got the fourth quarter comeback stat.
Exactly. So he doesn't get the stat for getting beat after his fourth quarter comeback.
Right, because, he was getting dogged for that for a little while. But, yeah, if you look deeper into it, it's not that great of a stat.
Nope, it's an awful one.
Next offseason headline is what will the Steelers do with Le'Veon Bell after his threat to retire if he doesn't get the contract he wants? And I can lead this one off because I think this is a headline. It's worth talking about. I don't think it happens, though, because I don't see Pittsburgh letting Le'Veon Bell get away. It might take a little while. It might last throughout the entire season. That's why it's going to be a drawn-out headline. We've seen other big names do this. Even Le'Veon Bell's done this. But it's going to get done because you don't let a top 3 running back in this league walk. And you can go, but I also want to I want to give you the opportunity to give us a Big Ben rant because I know you're not a big Ben Roethlisberger fan. And it's funny because last year around the draft, he had talked about considering retirement. And now he said he wants to play even after his current contract. So if you have anything to say, you can yell at Ben Roethlisberger for a few seconds. Otherwise, you can talk about Bell. Your ball's in your court.
I've said. Big Ben's just a big fucking pile of wanting attention. That's all he does. That's why he wears ice on every part of his body in the offseason. That's why he diagnoses himself with his own injuries and tries to play Dr. Ben on himself. That's why he says he's going to retire so that he can keep attention on himself. That's just what he does. And now he's switching it up. This guy's just a fucking joke to me. I'm done with Big Ben. When it comes to Le'Veon Bell, I worry about the Steelers because they're so stubborn. They're the type of franchise that sticks to their guns, and even with Tomlin, they're at a point where they probably could consider moving on with him, but they're an organization that doesn't do that. They stick with guys for too long, so they kind of stick to their guns. And I could see it going like it did last year, and Le'Veon Bell actually fucking holding out, not retiring, but holding out on him. I don't think he'd retire, but I think I could see them pushing him over the edge. They shouldn't. He's the reason they go. It's not Antonio Brown. Le'Veon Bell is the answer there. He's more than just a running back. He can do everything. The things he does at running back, but the fact that the catches he just makes out of the backfield as well, how good of a wide receiver he is that offense. I think he's more important to that offense than Roethlisberger and Brown. He
makes that offense without him be top 10, top 12-ish, to with him being instantly top 3.
I don't know, man.
He means that much to that team. And it was just a couple years ago how running backs were kind of getting shoved to the back. But we've seen him sort of emerge again. And Le'Veon Bell, you hit the nail on the head. He's more than just a running back. He gets it done in the passing game. He's good at blitz pickup. He does everything. He's a legit, complete 3-down back. And he's still young. He's not that old of a player. You can't get rid of that guy right now. You absolutely can't. So, they need to do whatever they can do to get it done. Yeah. Anything else on Bell?
No, just pay the fucking guy. Otherwise, I can't draft him in fantasy football
Yeah,
next
right.
year.
Pay the man. Next offseason headline: your expectations for the Kansas City Chiefs now that Pat Mahomes is the man at quarterback.
I'm always wanting to sit back and like not get excited. You know, it's easy to like be the guy. I'm not a scout, okay? I'm not gonna claim to be a scout, so people like criticize each other for like saying a guy's gonna fail and saying that that's easy to say a quarterback's gonna fail because most of them do. I'm not gonna go ahead and make. I don't like to make a prediction on these young guys one way or another because I'm not specifically for quarterbacks. I want to sit back and watch a few games before I actually make a prediction on him in the NFL. I don't know. Maybe he just is a guy with a big arm that can throw it deep but isn't accurate and can't read the defense. I don't know. I just it's terrible podcasting / radio, but I don't want to sit here and make a prediction. I want to watch and learn. I'll make a prediction after 4 or 5 games after I see something, but I don't have enough right now. I don't like preseason. I mean, I thought Hundley looked pretty good in preseason.
Right.
And look how the fuck that guy looked in the. Right, he's terrible. So I don't want to. I don't want to like put an expectation out there for this guy. I just don't want to do it. I'm not going to commit one way or another. I want to see the guy play a few regular season games, and put him out there. You don't know what a guy can do and how he's going to react to the game until you throw him out on the field, and that's what I'm waiting for.
All right. Well, I'll take a turn at this one after a very confident I don't know from DJ.
I think it's a very reasonable explanation.
Well, no, I get what you're saying, and the whole idea here is it's the headline. It's how are the Chiefs going to react? How is Mahomes going to do?
Fact.
Like it's all of that. So yeah, I don't expect you to have a theory on it, but I think when the Chiefs traded up to take Mahomes in last year's draft, we could all basically see that short of the Alex Smith leading the Chiefs to a Super Bowl, he was going to be the starter in 2018. I know some people were kind of like, well, he's still done really good. He's MVP candidate. Well, it's like they got bounced. That's who he is. We saw Mahomes.
That's who Andy Reid is, actually.
That's who Andy Reid is, yes. But we saw Mahomes a bit in preseason last year. Looked good. Flashed a little bit in one game that Smith got the day off. I'm not going to go much off of that. I think, like any young quarterback, there's going to be growing pains, especially from a quarterback who is allegedly, like you said, we don't even know. Right now, it's all alleged. He's allegedly willing to take chances, and he's allegedly not a guy that's going to play it safe. But I do think this was the necessary move to get the Chiefs to the next level. We had Andrew Erickson and Mitchell Renz on the podcast last year when we did the mock draft. And we talked about the Chiefs drafting late in the first round. They ended up moving up, obviously. But we had said, what's it going to take for the Chiefs to get to that next step? And a couple of the guys were like, just go with Smith and hone in on that defense. Like, that's going to do it. Well, I mean, it kind of failed again. Obviously, they don't have like an awesome defense. They have a playmaking defense. Marcus Peters is like the definition of that playmaker, but they don't have that dominating defense. So I think this is the necessary move. You have to go with the quarterback here. So whether this happens in 2018, whether they can live up to this team that they have been, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they missed the playoffs. Like, I wouldn't be shocked at all. But I think in the long term, Mahomes gives them that better shot of taking the next step. Maybe it's 2-3 years from now, but I think it's the move that had to be made.
I can't say he is in the long term that way, but I'm like, to build off the point I was saying, I'm the guy who's not yet sold on Deshaun Watson. Everybody else in the world is sold on Deshaun Watson. I still want to see guys get more tape on this guy because I'm not convinced. I'm still not sold. So I'm going to be the like sit back and wait guy. So even if he does have a good like 3-4 games, I want to see 6 solid games out of this guy. I want to see guys get more tape on him, see what they can do, because the NFL is such a fast-changing league that a rookie quarterback can be played so well right away because they don't have tape on the guy and play a different style of game where Deshaun Watson's kind of running around and making plays, figure him out, and he could play like he could just be shut down and squandered and throw 3 picks a game for the rest of his life. I'm not completely sold on Deshaun Watson, and that's why I'm going to sit and wait on Mahomes. I just don't know. I think they could come out looking great. I mean, we thought Blake Bortles.
Right.
I'm the ultimate Blake Bortles lover, by the way. Blake Bortles is awesome. But honestly, lots of people after his first season thought he was going to be spectacular. Even Derek Carr after his first year, and he could still be great. Looked like he was going to be good. Next year, not so good, not looking so hot. So you just don't know.
I think those guys, it was after their second year, but I get what you're saying.
Bortles was his first year.
Disagree.
They didn't play well, but he had garbage time, and he had
the fantasy
looked
stats.
Like he shined, and I think people thought he was going to be good. And it was his first year. It was definitely his first year.
I do think you are
in his second year.
I think you're in the minority here with your Watson take, so that's something we're definitely going to have to monitor and see how it goes, because you're on record now. If he ends up struggling a little bit, if someone figures him out, he could be in the minority that gets that one right. So.
Yeah, and by the way, it was definitely Bortles' first year where everybody thought he was going to shine, because this was his third year.
I don't know the math on things right now.
It was,
I'm not
because the second year you were like, I'm all in on Bortles for fantasy football, which was last year, and then he shit all over you, and everybody was down on him. So the first year was the year everybody.
For the record, Blake Bortles has never pooped on me. Let's move on to the next headline.
Wait, hold on. Let's do some Olympic updates. Shaun White is currently leading in the half pipe.
Great. I hope he gets the whole pipe.
I just saw a glance. I don't know if that's absolutely true, but I'm going to go ahead and take a shot.
Does Nick Foles stay in Philly, or do they try to trade him away?
Does Blake Bortles stay in Philly?
Does Nick Foles?
I think we discussed this before, and I just feel like with an ACL injury to Carson Wentz, they can't take the chance of trading him yet this year. So you have to have some kind of interim quarterback until Wentz for sure gets back.
That's true.
So I don't think he goes this year. I think he plays it. He's on the team for another year, like AJ McCarron.
Yeah.
Kind of deal, and then gets a big country. AJ McCarron's the guy we're not talking about. He's going to end up playing for a team, starting for a team
probably the
next
Bengals.
Year, probably the Bills or the Bengals.
Who would have thought that Nick Foles in Philly would be an off-season headline that we'd be talking about? Like, that's just crazy to me. It's amazing how fast things can change, though, because, I mean, Foles, when he played with Chip Kelly, he had that year where he had like 20-some passing touchdowns and like 4 interceptions. And everyone's like, oh, my God, Chip Kelly's offense worked. Nick Foles is the next pretty good quarterback. I don't want to call him great quarterback.
Yeah.
But now Chip Kelly's not in the league. Nick Foles did nothing for a while, and now Nick Foles went from good to nothing, back to good, and we're talking about him maybe potentially starting for one of these teams now moving forward, even garnering like a high-round draft pick. Like, that just seems crazy to me, and it shows how fast things can change. But I'm with you. You almost have to hold on to him.
Oh, my gosh.
Just because you don't know what's going to happen with Carson Wentz. That injury happened so late.
Yeah.
But imagine turning down like a late first or an early second round pick for a guy like Nick Foles, a backup quarterback. That just blows my mind that that's a possibility.
I got 2 breaking news here.
All right, breaking news.
It's officially bracket season. Joe Lunardi is in his bracket bunker on ESPN right now. Number 2, some person in the Olympics landed on the corner of the half pipe and is being stretchered off right now. He's being strapped to the board and stretchered off right now. He landed right on like the edge of it.
He got the pipe.
And they went to commercial. He did. I don't know if I should be laughing because I could be pretty serious. They were being really fast about it. But it's bracket season.
It is bracket season. We're gonna have
Joe Lunardi's in his bracket bunker officially.
We'll have a March Madness bracket that we break out for y'all. I'm pretty pumped up for that. DJ doesn't even know about it yet.
No, you told me something. I don't even know one of the girls the last girl that you were talking about that's not in it.
Don't give up too much.
Okay. Well, I don't know who that last person was.
All right. We'll go over it some rainy day. Next headline: who starts at quarterback for the Vikings Week 1?
We talked about this before, but I think the best / cheapest and best is going to be Bridgewater. And I honestly think he could end up being the best of the 3 quarterbacks. So he's going to cost you the least amount of money because he hasn't played for fucking 2 years.
He's the youngest.
And I think he could end up being the best quarterback out of the 3. I think the rest of both of them are going to try to cost too much money. I would roll with Bridgewater. I think it's going to be Bridgewater.
Yeah, so that Eagles offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo, however you say his last name.
DeFilippo, or how do you say it?
I don't know.
It's not Dave Filippo.
Let's just go with D-Flip.
I think it's Dave Filippo.
John D-Flip. I like D-Flip. So he did go to the Vikings, as I predicted a couple weeks ago on the podcast. So there's kind of that instant tie to Foles. I will say that right away. I don't like
that's
it,
not
but
happening.
I will bring that up.
You can't have 3 quarterbacks and then get rid of all 3 of them and bring Foles
Oh, you sure can.
in.
No, I sort of agree. Like, there's of those 3, like if I'm ranking them,
Sam Bradford's such a question mark too. I didn't mention that, but he's such an
oh,
injured question
absolutely.
mark. You can't have any confidence.
Like, can
in
you
that
tie
guy.
that much money to him with his injury history? I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I I wonder, and even okay, let's say so they have the 3 guys right now who none of them are signed. They need 2 quarterbacks. Like, they're gonna
Yeah.
need 2 quarterbacks. So you talked about maybe Bridgewater being the cheaper option. Maybe you can keep Bridgewater and Keenum and let them just duke it out in training camp and preseason.
That would be such a. How do you decide? I don't know. That's something interesting. Kim
That's
sucked in the last game.
that's kind of the route that I would want to go though, because I like Bridgewater. I agree with you. I think he has the most potential of them all. But I mean, no one has any idea how that knee's going to react. No one knows how he's going to
Yeah.
do after 2 years off. You saw that Keenum can lead you as far as he did. That defense is still going to be good. Hell, if you can, I'd bring them both. On a side note, Adam Thielen did say really nice things about Kirk Cousins if they weren't able to keep one of their own. So there's another potential team there for
I
Cousins.
just. It's so. I feel like it'd be so problematic if you keep both
Oh,
Keenum and
it could be.
Teddy Bridgewater as well. Like
It
that could
absolutely
just end up
could be.
backfiring, and they're like trying to compete each other, and then they're just both like failing, and
Well-
then it just ends up going south, the opposite way.
What if the Eagles keep Foles and Wentz does play right away and he struggles for 3 to 4 weeks and they go 1-4? Like,
That's not going to happen. Carson Wentz is awesome.
Huh.
I think he's the second best quarterback in the NFL. I will stake that claim to that quarterback. Carson Wentz is the second best quarterback in the NFL right now.
man, you don't give Ryan Tannehill any love.
Yeah. No, he has a skill set that's just unbelievably. He has an Aaron Rodgers skill set. It's second to one.
What? Yeah, there you go. Second to one. I like that.
Yeah.
What about our last guy here? Our last headline, another quarterback, Jimmy G. Does he live
This guy,
up?
this is another one that pisses me off.
Does he live up to his new contract with the 49ers?
This guy plays fucking 5 games.
7
or
games.
some shit. He won 5 games, right? And for the
Right.
Niners.
Yeah, I would say he played 2.
And they pay him $137 million.
all the
and a half.
millions. Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? Aaron Rodgers is going to get paid $1 billion. If this is Aaron Rodgers, he might have the first fully guaranteed contract. I'm
Yeah.
not even joking.
Yeah,
Like
he's gonna.
I'm not even kidding about that.
They can't pay him too much at this point.
You literally can't. You just put like Rodgers saw that and he's like fucking himself right in the ass, or Danica is. But it's just unbelievable. I would not spend that much money on a guy who's played 5 games for me, and just you could like franchise tag him and see what he does for a year and pay him some pretty good money still.
Before I give my Jimmy G take, I'd like to know you despise NASCAR more than anyone I probably know. So how does it feel that your favorite person in the world, in Aaron Rodgers, is now hooking up with a person that got famous in NASCAR? And
It really bothers me because Danica, like when she's not all dolled up, she's like a Oompa Loompa. She's like 5 foot nothing, not attractive. Like she's
see, I didn't like Olivia Munn that much. I didn't think she
Either
was
did
that
I.
hot.
I'm going to be honest. Aaron Rodgers is on the level of like superstardom as Tom Brady. He needs to be married to like or dating like a Kate Upton type
yeah.
girl, like someone on that like level.
Fucking get
You know,
Beyonce.
like Jennifer Lawrence, someone who's that. I don't like Jennifer Lawrence very much, but somebody who's that popular level. Like it needs to be like ultimate superstar,
Oprah.
super attractive. Not Oprah. Somebody like that's just unbelievably hot.
I agree.
mean, like if Justin Verlander wasn't dating Kate Upton, that would be his girl right there.
Yeah. He'd retire. I can't believe
Yeah,
Verlander hasn't retired yet.
It needs to be some kind of supermodel, some like one of those, like a Victoria's Secret supermodel, just one of those tall, or the girl that was you didn't see probably watch the Grammys, but the girl that was like front stage at the Grammys walking down with I can't remember who it was, Bruno Mars or some shit. No, it wasn't him. But anyways, everybody knows what I'm talking about. It needs to be
Yeah.
The Danica thing doesn't work for me.
Yeah, instead of a Victoria's Secret model, he's got a girl that like carries around a gas tank and a tire rod.
4'10". She's literally an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk a little bit about Jimmy G because he's a good-looking guy too. He's probably getting better chicks than Rodgers. I guarantee that,
Yeah.
especially after that deal.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I mean,
Rodgers could. He just is. I don't know what he's doing.
Something wrong with him mentally.
He could have me.
So yeah, even though Jimmy G's looked good, how in the world can he possibly live up to that deal? I mean, we're talking about seven games, and all of a sudden now you're like the highest paid player.
He legitimately has to make the playoffs this year.
Like, the thing is though, this is the price you now have to pay for a franchise quarterback, but these are just unrealistic expectations after you sign for that price after that many games. But you legit have to do it because some other team was going to sign him for that price if the 49ers didn't. You have to do it.
I don't know, man. This is unbelievable.
But it goes back to that debate we had where you tried to laugh me off the podcast where I said you either need to have a good quarterback and you got to suck it up and you just got to win with this expensive ass quarterback, or if you can get a great defense, and I'm talking a great defense, and save money at the quarterback position somehow, like there's another way to win in the NFL these days.
Quarterback always wins.
That didn't happen this year. Nick Foles just beat Tom Brady.
Yeah, and he shredded him. He shredded them because their defense was so bad. But like, it was a quarterback matchup. The defenses were both terrible.
Yeah, most yards ever.
It's so weird to say about Nick Foles, but it was a quarterback matchup in that game.
It was. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Yeah. Any other headlines you'd like to get to?
No. That person's off the half pipe, so I don't know who it was, but prayers out, homie.
All right. Prayers out to the guy that got piped. So
yeah,
that's all we got. Thanks for tuning in. Go ahead. I just
Reds,
asked if you had anything.
If you're still alive, Miss Reds, please reach out to us. We haven't heard from you. R.I.P. in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. in peace. Find us on Twitter @LoadedBox. Check out our website for our latest blogs, loadedboxpodcast.wordpress.com. Next episode will be next week. I don't remember what it is at this time, but we'll be here. Check us out on iTunes by searching Loaded Box. Subscribe, rate, and review. And with that, DJ, sign us out.